Well, several interesting things have been happening. In recent days, for example, in Massachusetts, these images are drawing attention due to claims that the famous UAPs keep reappearing or have returned. Odd objects sometimes show up where they don't belong, often with unusual shapes like the one we just saw or another photographed late at night. Today we're presenting this image from New Jersey, by the way, once again in New Jersey. Objects that have been appearing that have been, well, in this case, it even seemed like they were watching. You can see how it has like a spotlight, but they're sure that you can't hear like, well, the classic helicopter sound. I mean, the thing is that at least I can hear the flashes.
The strange movement, that's it.
You can't hear it. If it's a helicopter, the sound might not travel that far. But it's striking that these objects are there once again, the famous UAPs showing up. Recently, there was discussion about these congressional hearings, which will return soon. I think the next hearing is in September, unless they cancel it like they did in May. But since I see them very active, the congressmen like Luna and others who are around. Speaking of this topic lately, on podcasts, they haven't been, well, coming out publicly to talk about certain topics and documents. Well, then it makes me think that the one in September, the September hearing, might actually happen. Let's hope so, right? I mean, that it's actually going to happen. It would be super interesting, and, well, let's see if they're also going to update the topic of UAPs. Other matters that are also drawing attention are what's happening with the issue of Ukraine, because it seems like Trump is withdrawing from the summit. It looks like he won't be participating in this meeting between Vladimir Putin and Zelensky anymore, which now he's not interested in anymore. Now then, once again, it's Trump in the spotlight.
The President of the United States, Donald Trump, said he would prefer not to attend the possible meeting that isn't going to happen between Putin and Zelensky, even though he said it came out of his mouth that it was going to be a trilateral meeting, that he would be there if they wanted, if they invited him. And, well, in his words, Putin and Zelensky are like oil and vinegar. So does that mean it's impossible for there to be an agreement between these two leaders? And she stated that the first one must meet with them before considering whether to join this meeting or not. She just wants to avoid looking bad or causing trouble, right?
No.
She wants it in her face. Imagine if something happened to Zelensky for saying that. Because he has been... Imagine, how would the President of the United States look staying there? Obviously, he doesn't want to get involved in this if it were to happen. Well, Trump has criticized, for example, the harshness of the Russian attack on some American-owned factories in Mukachevo in Ukraine. Says, I'm not happy about this, and warns of possible economic reprisals. Well, we already know that they haven't happened. It's been 200, I don't know how many, 10 days since he said he was going to impose sanctions, and they haven't happened.
Besides, when Trump talked about the trilateral thing, it seemed obvious to him that he had to be there because they want me there. Exactly. I mean, besides, today there was an important message. Zelensky saying, Zelensky has already figured it out. He understands that if you go along with him, you get more favors, so to speak. And so, today Zelensky was saying, well, that in the world there was only one man who could stop Vladimir Putin, and that was Donald Trump, right? And I don't know what, and Donald Trump, he got excited. But then, well, it's striking that now, a few days earlier, he gives a message insinuating that the weapons of the United States are now actually going to be used regarding Russia. Was he very upset about their attack on an American factory in Ukraine? The Russians targeted a United States factory, and that upset Trump. So, I don't know if that's the reason, if it's for some other reason, but the point is that Trump is upset.
It's just that in the end, all his attacks make him look, well, kind of foolish in the end, right? I mean, not even an American company managed to get protected.
Exactly, he couldn't protect that, making him look worse. In the end, he appears weak, which he dislikes. And, well, Putin also has another interest. He has no interest in making Trump look good at all. So, he's on a different track. Sergei Lavrov himself has also reacted.
Exactly, that's the mistake.
Today, he ruled out the possibility of a meeting between Putin and Zelensky, something that I think everyone knew was not going to happen. And he said there is no meeting plans. And he assured that days after Trump announced that preparations for the summit had begun, well, this wasn't something we were going to do.
Well, there it is. So let's move on to other topics. Let's go to other important matters as well. Other important matters within all this back and forth. It's just that Ukraine publicly warned Belarus, creating a delicate situation that's now more complex. It's not just that there are disputes with Lukashenko or that there are suspicions that troops might come from there. No, here we're already talking about moves that go further, for example, the deployment of nuclear weapons. We're talking about big things, not toys or anything like that. We're talking about serious matters. The Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs asked Minsk to avoid provocations during the exercises and urged European countries to stay on high alert. Something is happening with Belarus. We have to remember that it's on the border with Belarus, very close to the capital. In fact, that's where they tried to make it happen. The capital invasion attempt that failed. In this invasion, which is a historical topic, in this invasion that they tried to carry out through this area right here towards what is Kiev, they left 40 kilometers of Russian war tanks destroyed, burned out, 40 kilometers that were on their way. But they didn't know there was a surprise. Ukraine already had about 10 years preparing for the conflict, preparing for the war, something that Russian intelligence failed to foresee. And that was one of the greatest embarrassments of this whole war. So it left the entire attack on the Ukrainian capital disabled, and it took several days to recover from it. They take 60% of the country, and of that 60%, most recover and leave Ukraine. So Russia is left with only about 20%. They take it, then withdraw. Because the position in Russia was not sustainable, but Belarus was involved there. From that point on, Belarus steps back and says, I'm not getting involved, I'm not going to enter the conflict, and I don't know what else, and I don't know what else. But from that right now, well, we're already talking about it, that a lot of time has passed, years have gone by, and right now it seems like either Belarus is being pressured to act in favor of Vladimir Putin, or Belarus is interested in helping Putin. Really? I don't know. I don't know if it's an imposition from Putin or what, because there have already been several times that Lukashenko ignores it.
Exactly, he ignores it, but well, at the end of the day, there he has nuclear weapons, right? That are already on their way. Today, Lukashenko was telling the population to prepare for war. A topic that he knows puts him and his family in danger because Belarusians are fed up with Lukashenko.
Exactly. I mean, he's hanging by a thread. We have to remember that during these very days, he announced that he will no longer be president of Belarus in the next elections. It will be someone else, but everyone thinks it's his son. The next president, so to speak. And the charade continues, right, Andando? It's part of what's happening in that region. Anything else about Lukashenko and all that? Let's move on to other important matters.